Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have Kindred, and it has been a while since we've had Kindred, the Broxa video in fact. And you know what? They are still one of the best champions to main in solo queue. People don't know how to deal with it, and if you are a good pilot of Kindred, you have no issue climbing. You have no issue winning games, and you have no issue navigating every sort of game state you might find yourself in, as the Orn Flash East, so knock up the pike, goes over the wall, Kindred flashes through. First blood cash monies. Now, don't worry too much. Blue team will regain the gold lead early, and we will have, around 15 minutes, under 2k, around 2k or something like that, differential between the teams, so no runaways in the early phases, that's for sure. What we're going to talk about in this video, though, is a little bit of the itemization spikes. Now, I get a lot of Kindred in my coaching, and you'll see the VODs on Patreon. You can also sign up there if you want, but we talk often about itemization, and some Kindred mains prefer, but more still fightery, bruisery. Some people want the unhit, but rest in peace Devourer and things like this, Blood Razor. Kraken Slayer is your go-to mythic. You can use Gale Force, and in this particular game, we will use Gale Force because we have Gale Force because we have a bit more of a squishy team comp, and mobility will be very, very useful against Vi, Azir, Tristana, as well as the Pike. We're now going to start on the red, obviously, because we have wards on their red. Vi starting here, and we're going to have a 3-man invade. This obviously is inherently risky because you've got 2 people on the top side, and now you will be outnumbered. And the Vi will just be able to smite it and get away with it. However, good HP chunking by the red team. How does Kindred react to this? And this is where things get a little messy for me. I don't usually like to see Kindreds on an early Raptor pit. You can have an early Raptor take, that's for sure. But usually we coach, fundamentals. Get your red, get your 4 camp down. Get your red, blue grump down. Learn to exert pressure with Kindred with aggressive pathing, especially, where's the chat? Especially because you're going to have a lot of situations where you can actually just snowball against really bad enemy junglers, especially in those low-mid MMRs. In high elo, a Kindred will always be able to snowball. It is very difficult to find a late game, like 38-minute, 35-minute Kindred game. There's just no ways they let enemy junglers get away with it when they're a skilled Kindred main. And this Kindred main, 1.3 million mastery points up. Not only do they know how to play Kindred, they know pretty much everything about the champion. Now, obviously, you can go Red Raptors Grump level 3 if you wanted to do that. That is obviously the better way to 3-camp gank when you get a bit more comfortable with your early clears and mechanics. However, if nothing's available, fall back to your blue, and again, it's still a 4-camp, and now go ahead and look for some pressure, especially flashes were burned. Azir being quite disrespectful here. Don't forget to scan, wait for the yeet in. There we go, the exhaust is slowed down. He will have to flash here. All we need to do is try and hit ourselves an E, but unfortunately, because we have no flash, we're going to struggle. We know the Vi will be able to collapse in this. We don't overchase too much, but excellent damage by the Karthus doing all the good work. Now, Kindred can, of course, use the E on the Vi here. Maybe Karthus can hit some spells. He can! Applause all round. Prior top lane is irrelevant because the good work is done, and now we do get... This is it, isn't it? You have good rotations, good mid laners, good laners. And then you look potentially for that RNGesus crab top side, and obviously the crab that you'll fight on and win isn't the one that gets the mark. So that'll be on the bottom side. We know Vi will just smurf on down there and take that. And we're going to do a bit of a cheeky dive on the top lane here. Ornn is going very, very deep, very, very aggressive against the Yorick. I don't think he expected the Kindred to kind of just wait a little bit. He just went absolutely all in. And now we're going to get the kill here, obviously. We have enough time to mark the Yorick, so I'll give up my bottom crab for that. And maybe the Ornn just knew what he was doing the whole time. Thank you so much. All mains are based. I obviously play him jungle, but it is known. And of course, as a Kindred, I'm not playing with Kindred jungles because I'll just upgrade your mythic before anybody else. Everyone else can be that dog in the meme where they're kind of looking at the barbecue. I was going to say bry, because in South Africa we say bry. But you guys know it as barbecue. Anyway, out of base here, we know that this was taken. We can worry about the Vi ganking bot lane, which of course she does. Now, she really wants to get that kill, and she... So, Karma steps back in to, die, but also get the kill. In the meantime, you could look to rotate to this, but because we have Karthus very, very low, Azir has no issue. Azir, my boy! Bird noises, confused chicken noises. And I understand from the Azir's perspective here why he might be annoyed, but this is exactly how you want to play Kindred. 3-camp, look for X, nothing. Okay, maybe I can 4-camp. Then I definitely want to get on the map. I need to try and get pressure in the river so that I can get an open mark. And obviously, for some reason, Vi hadn't taken this. I'm confused just a little bit why you would not do that. I understand the allure of the bottom lane, but now Kindred has 3 marks. And of course, the 4th mark, as you all know, is the juiced one because that gives you the range. We do want to enhance our range 75 plus, and that makes it even more difficult for melees and anyone else to kind of stick to the Kindred. So this is a beautiful start. Very, very good snowball. But the gold lead, we're down 100. We are down 100. So despite all of that, we're not having the best time. We do have here a Pike Roam. Pike is such a diseased champion, man. I absolutely permaban this in support position. Let's have a look here. We do get the E-proc, but it's not quite enough. Vi rotates from the top side, so we know she's been taking that. I'm not covering the CS tracking at this stage. Obviously, every video we think about it. Sometimes we talk about the champion mechanics more so, but just keep in mind, every time the jungler shows up, you're pressing tab, you're tracking the CS. You know, here she dies, 20 CS. This is why we assume she'll go to the bottom and take this crab. If she shows up with 24, you can probably assume it. If she shows up with the same CS, then she didn't take the crab, and so you know it's available, which of course in this case it was. However, a lot of things have happened since then and the numbers are completely different. We use our lead to have good aggressive jungling into, excuse me, I apologize so much for that, camera shifting around to move into the enemy jungle. Vi shows up top lane here going in on the Ornn, misses the Q. We hit the Pillar of Destiny. We turn around to the Brother proc. Very, very nice. Cannon Wave, be very careful, miss. And obviously Kindred is saying, well, thank you so much for your krugs. You could look to do a Ocean Dragon or Dragon should that opportunity present itself. But at the same time, this is just absolutely diseased gameplay. Okay, the Ornn dies anyway. Well played by the Vi, but now we have a Kindred with new quiver. Obviously, bonus damage to monsters, good AD, good attack speed, really beautiful on most jugglers who can build these kinds of items and mythics in terms of snowballing. The Karthus is still level 5, which I find absolutely hilarious. And what is the blue team going to do here? I mean, they're just like, please, someone. But that's what you got to do. And we know that the Vi will now reset and come on down. So you do have to recognize you're on a bit of a timer. Okay, you cannot hang around forever. And obviously the Karma is losing a lot of experience. And we know we probably could have and should have just looked to do the dragon and gotten out. You can always fall back. Just for some objective controls, good for the lane, especially for Karthus, as well as for everyone else on this team. And anyone. Ocean Drake is good for everybody. We'll take the Grump. Wolves should spawn very, very soon. How close is Karthus? Still at 734. So Wolves should spawn as they show up, which is great. Good quadrant sequencing. This is the 4th mark. All right, on a crab, which is exactly what you want. But at the same time, where's the Vi? What you're going to do is you're going to go for the dragon. There's no camps on the bottom side. She's probably going to look to go up here again. We do have a fair amount of gold in 1600. That's a good snowball component. But if she's not there, and the Vi's pathing is bad, Zia, why do you do this to me? Okay, now we know that we're not going to be able to get that. So, Yorick sends Ornn to the grave. The pressure bot lane gives Roam prior to the Karma. Vi shows up level 7, doing a good job farming in the background there, actually. Not too far behind. Definitely has a couple kills. Stupid death on the bottom lane, but she did get a double from it. Now, I would be concerned about potential invades here, so definitely kite up. I do like staying in the bush to see if they're going to rotate, but, you know, you can kite up and smite. Vi shows up here. Karma will die as well. Level 4 again, I told you. The Karma was losing a lot of experience with these plays in the bottom lane. And that can come back to bite you. You know, you did this to her. She could have not listened and focused on what she needed to do, but you know that doesn't happen when you're a fed jungler. People like to follow you around sometimes. It's very annoying. But, you know, full sequence up. Huge amount of cash money spent. That'll be a Gale Force in our pocket. Thank you so much. And obviously, stupid replays. And obviously now out of base, we can focus on bottom side, dragons, blue buffs, counter ganking. Okay. Mechanics. Kindred shows up. Nice Gale Force there. Vi goes all the way. Oh! Everybody, please. Beautiful to save the Karthus. That is an absolute tilter if there ever was one. Again, what are you learning from this? Don't go straight to your camps blindly. If you see action happening and you can rotate, especially with, you know, PTA Relentless Hunter rune set, which is my favorite and most default rune set, get to places, man. Use your pressure here. You can always reactively path to things and get cleanup. The difference between a Kindred and high elo like this, who's 701, and you who might be gold, silver, platinum, low diamond, is that you're not thinking about this. You're not taking this pathway. You're going down and then like, oh shit, I could have rotated. No, well, you should have done that in the first place. Now we do lose, again, a little bit of the dragon pressure that we could secure. I think in low elo, you all know it's the mental game, right? The dragon is the mental game. So instead of absolutely doing nonsense here, where your lane's not going to understand how to play around it anyway, you could just take this knowing the Vi's top lane. Vi shows up bottom lane here. We're sequencing up again. Hook hits. Tristana ulls in. Flash away from the Karma. We know Vi's in the river. We know that they now have Prio. We know that the Kindred has fallen back and most likely will be sequencing up. So, Vi's going to take the dragon. That is pretty much foretold and foregone conclusion. Karthus in the mid lane, again, not having the best time at all, is he? He's really... I love Azir, though. I love watching a great Azir. I know he's oppressive in pro play sometimes, but I just love watching him. So I'm clicking the minimap a lot because I actually played a few games today, so I'm a bit more clicky when I usually like to keep it on the jungle so you can watch what they're doing, but it is important to make sure we do that. Top lane here. Ornn sneaking himself an assist, and I will say, I do that. I do that. I don't know why I keep saying doo-doo. Whatever. I do that also. I like to use my health max range. Just snipe yourself on assist as Ornn, it's always nice. And Vi kills the Karma, being an out of position, and again, counter jungling master. Not worrying too much about wasting time on the dragon. Why? Because as soon as obviously the mark spawns on the wolf camp there, we get it, we're now at 6. You know, when you know the Vi is here and we take all of this, afterwards, what you gonna do? And now she's bot lane, you take all of this, now what she's gonna do? What is she gonna do? She can't move into your jungle to take stuff because it's always down because you're sequencing well. And obviously by applying this pressure, you're really putting her in a bit of an experience deficit, and you've seen that come forth big time here. Nice circle into the lane, because Ornn's overstayed now. No TP. Yeah, cancel that back. Cancel that back. Yorick top lane is always among the smartest. Don't you agree? I always like seeing a good Yorick because they seem to have a keen sense of awareness. It's really odd because most top laners are complete duffel bags and stuffed with sweaty towels and have the combined neuron of an amoeba in terms of their tracking and positioning, but Yorick's always seem to be a bit more sussy about these things. Again, we have here the Karthus. Well, haha, nothing. But again, Karthus is still killing the Azir back, still getting stuff because of the Kindred's presence. Now, Ornn's coming out of base here with a fresh purchase, fresh mana. We know that the Vi is going to be on this. Easy track and awareness. Gets queued, but we do have ultimate here, but we won't need it. We don't need it. That's absolutely fresh snow for the Kindred. And the Yorick was like, guy, I'm chilling in the wave, holding it here. Why are you going for this? Knowing that the Kindred beats you 1v1. And, you know, that's a valuable question. Don't do that. If you know you lose 1v1, and you know the enemy jungler is 100% in the arena thanks to Yorick's great warding, should you greed for this Herald? Probably not. Probably not. Now after Herald, again, extended sequence. Can we go top lane again? We're going to hit that E, airborne a little bit, chunky, 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 and... Oh. Anyway, I said smart, not tilt-proof. That's a tilt flash. Just don't do that. 2.5 to 3 plates. Herald activation. Unfortunate, we know the Vi will most likely go for that. I would anticipate if my bot lane, he takes his tower and pushes here. That... She's really testing me. I understand not taking the mark and holding the top wave, but as you see from the Yorick, I don't expect it to be here. The Yorick doesn't expect it to be here. And honestly, the Kindred could have taken all of this and left. You know, the total jungle carry guide I just released on the main channel. I deal with this. How do you deal with randomness when a jungler is just playing way below the level they should, and you are just way better than them? And of course, most of you always think you're better than the enemy jungler. If you were, you would play like that video. So I talk a little bit about dealing with randomness and adapting your game plan to that. So watch that on the main channel if you want to see how to kind of think, oh, the Vi is going to be Krug. Wait, why is she top lane? How do we react to this? How do we use that for processing? And how do we take the next steps? Now, Kindred, I told you we're going to talk about builds. I am not a collector fanboy. I don't think we need collector in our... Thank you, I guess. Whoa. Well, Pike. Good old Brother Zai, but it won't matter. Pike. Karthus, outplayed button. The outplay button. well, what can you do? Anyway, as I was saying, yes, Collector is great for snowballing. You've got the crit, you've got the AD, you've got the attack speed bonus from Kraken. Usually, here we don't have that. So I'm not a fan of not having attack speed in the second itemization choice. If you are planning to go straight up full on crit, then a PD is always a good option. I know Collector is by far the most purchased because lethality spike, juicy. Crit, juicy. Execute, good for snowballing. And juicy. Synergizes with our E nicely. But the PD, with the ghosting, with the Zeal item and attack speed into an IE, it's a legendary and historic combo, and I still like the feel of it more personally. I do understand why people like the Collector, but in lower elo games, you're not going to take the Collector and really snowball and end them, right? You're going to struggle with that particular concept. So the best thing for you to do is just itemize for the long run, because people are not going to know how to close games, and you're going to need to be as strong as possible, and a PDIE into GA is always going to be good. Flash E, you see, I love crit. I love crit. And the crit and the E execute with full AD, with IE, with PD and all that stuff, it's so good. It's so pleasurable, actually. We smite this away. Pike and Zia are floating on the bottom side. Here, Karfus says, can I play now? He once more gets ulted by Zia. Such a great disengage. Such a great ultimate. Ornn's ult, Zia's ult, they're just fun and strong and powerful and very irritating when you're against it. Again, all we have to do is move. I mean, the damage is so disgusting. And yes, we're going into IE here, which is what I'm talking about it. This player does like what I'm talking about. Kraken, item, IE, GA. But instead of that being like a PD or something like an RFC, it's a Collector, which is typical for high elo Kindreds, okay? So just keep that in mind. Play around with it a little bit. I do prefer having a bit more attack speed. Hitting more frequently with decent power rather than hitting a bit more slow with a lot of power, obviously. That's what that means. I hope you understand that. Meanwhile, Yorick is banging away at the top lane. The Tristana is shadowing up, moving the chess pieces around to take all the towers. Ornn will pill the ult, hit the ult. Kindred will rotate and say, yo, what up? Tristana's like, wait, what's happening? And I don't know why she's doing that. And the fact that he has Divine Sundra and not Hellbreaker. Obviously, Hellbreaker is significantly worse now as a rush. You can't really rush it. Thank you, right? Because right there is exactly why we wanted that. We want to be able to collapse and do something if we are fed. So, in the situation where you're kind of killing everybody and rotating here, make sure you cover your top lane. Usually you get free kills. And what this does is, if you don't need to stay out, right, and you want to reset, it gives you time to kind of get that atomization spike, but also not lose anything while you're doing it. If you just went back to base, and of course, push, get into here, push this down, collapse inward, you know, use that for macro pressure. Vi goes way deep on the Xayah, and again, brainless jungling. A kill for a kill, most damage. Oh. Ooh. Hi, Tristan. I mean, 11 marks, IE, plus Collector, substitute Collector, and even for PD, you'll have the same kind of effect. It is absolutely juicy. And even if you have a less than optimal early game, and this is something I just coached the other day, and I will put on the Patreon soon, I think, is even if you have weaker early games with champions like Kindred, you can always and often find yourself an easy way back into the game. Sometimes it's a small play, sometimes it's a big play, but Kindred just enables you to do whatever you want. And if you can see that decision to get you back in the game, Kindred is the champion that allows you to do it. And that's why I love them. Because even if a first rotation isn't the best, like a few sequencing here, a couple counter jungling here, a nice 1v1 to clean up gank there, you get 4-5 marks, and all of a sudden with a bit of atomization, you are doing huge and disgusting damage. Here we can trap for sure. You become an assassin, yes? Ah, the exhaust Zonias, but we shall get a heal. We have Karma, that's a dead of 0, 100%. Easy, easy, easy. Dragon, no dragon, nothing else to do, no counter jungler, blue camp spawning, all on the top side here, fighting the Vi, and of course we're going to stand the bush here and just clean up Yorick so he can once more be maidenless. We have here the Karfus, who's just chilling. So this is also very important, right? You have a big lead, you have some people following you around, and you have other people not really pushing the map as much as they could and should really. Because I do think once the Vi is dead and you kill the Azir, we should probably change his name, you know, it's easier to fall back to objectives and counter jungling. Just don't stand still. Really don't stand still. Push the map, look for assassinations, and use your lead. It's the most important thing. And it's simple to say, use your lead. But it also means don't fall back to farming your jungle camps as a first reflex. That's essentially the core principle of playing a snowball Kindred type jungler. We're going to activate that just to give it to the Karthus so we can go for the Baron. I do like this play. I do this especially if someone's a bit tilted or a bit rage splitty, but they're still doing a decent job with pressure, and they still need to send 1 or 2 people to deal with them. We all know that this is going down here. Vi's going to show up. Azia's going to show up. They have to react to it. This is an absolute free Baron, and we should go and take it immediately. Vi's going to flash ult. Wait, no, she just queued ult. Excuse me. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the minimap. But this should be a free Baron. That's why you like using the Herald in. Ideally, he's not going to die, and he's going to use a bit of that pressure. And if he does get a kill and they don't send anyone, and you get the Baron, you've got a Baron, Herald, plus Split Pusher. However, in this case, it doesn't happen. So, we shall simply take that. Can we get upgraded? Yes, we can. We have Typhoon. It's a good upgrade. And now, a little bit of Split Pressure. Again, in the video I just released on the main channel, it's with Volibear, but it's the same principle. How can I take a really big Giga lead, and when my team doesn't really have the team fighting presence and the enemy team is splitting up, what can I do to kind of pressure the map, keep my farming up, and still allow me to close the game in a reasonable time frame? Talk about this a lot. Just disrespect from the Yorick. I would be tilted too based upon my my jungler, but you know, this is basically a snowballing finish, but as you can see, oh, you can't see, there's no timeline. There's still some minutes to go. This is not 100% over. Yes, in terms of typical scaling and itemization and champions, the red team has significantly better comp. Like, there's no ways they lose even by accident. But the mechanics here by the Kindred are very fluid. The Gale Force, the Qs, the moving in and out. It's really, the ultimates have been exquisite. This is a great game to show you the mechanical level that you need to aspire to if you're a Kindred player. And also just to think about your itemization and your jungling in general. Look at this. GA, this is why I like the GA. Because it's the randomness effect. That wasn't so random. That was more them inting or overstaying and, you know, coin flipping the scenario. Don't do that, please. Reset, get out, go to your dragon. Now you can push this, you can take this, you can take this, you can push this, and close the game like a human being, please. That's all I request. And obviously don't waste your GA, because the GA is so that if they do make a pick on you, and you do die by some miracle for the enemy team, you're not gonna die twice or 3 times with the ultimate. The W is nice. Nicely placed. I enjoy. Okay. Final itemization. We have the Berserker's Greaves, obviously, because we're snowballing this game. Don't really care about anyone's resistances. And yes, RFC is a great second Zeal item. If you're going full crit, this is typically the build you can run. Collector substituted for PD, but those can be your 2 Zeal items for sure. You know, I do miss the old static shiv, though. The old static shiv. Like years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. You rush it second with an IE, and then you can go into your sort of, well, you'd actually have Rune Ants quite frequently back in the day. A lot of cool synergies that we used to have with those items, but that was long ago. And now we have Ornn, ulting, flashing, using everything. He is being a big boy. Kindred is lagging behind the play, but here we go. Alright, Ornn's still alive, thank you, Karma. I mean, that's what he's meant to do. Karthus is basically rage splitting and dead, so if you do have a rage splitter, this shows you why you don't really need him, because they probably also have a rage splitter. And if they don't respect you, then it's going to be a free game. Just go around the world, push top, reset, go back to base, get your itemization, buy an elixir, push mid again, look to siege a little bit, and obviously you can go catch this. If there's no ways you can close here, maybe the game's a bit closer, they have good wave clear, then obviously it's nice to reset, but I don't think we have to worry about that in this case. Our range is beautiful, we're at 12 marks, and we hurt. We absolutely hurt. Once more, Yorick is maidenless. Ah, yes, the all-in on the Fed member, because we hate you. Oof, again, back into the ult. That's the second time this game. Ult heal, nice. Keep your spacing, beautifully done. Pyke dies, too late. Didn't ask. There you go. That's what you do when you're a super fed Kindred. With this build, with this rune set, and when you see the map beautifully and focus on denying the enemy jungle through counter jungling and keeping up permanent pressure on the map, it's difficult for high-skilled Kindreds to let games drag on. That's the reality of it. If you play reality of it, if you're a Kindred main and you struggle to close games out pre-30, let's say, even in lower or mid elos, it's because you're not playing Kindred and accentuating those strengths appropriately. So, in the series of Kindred videos, another itemization build, another game state example, hopefully with all of them, you learn something and you are able to climb. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share, and comment if you did enjoy and learn something. Don't forget to watch the main channel as well. Check out my Patreon. Join us in the Discord. And I'll see you all in the next video.